Our Nation Sports Show. Tonight, on the Nation Sports Show, we break down the complete 2024 NFL regular season schedule. Starting tonight, the NBA's conference finals gets underway. In the Eastern Conference Finals, the Indiana Pacers will face the Boston Celtics. In the Western Conference Finals, the Minnesota Timberwolves will take on the Dallas Mavericks. The Final Four is set. Who will advance to the NBA Finals? It's showtime.
Good up to the court, talking all that is sport, breaking down the latest news, scores, and more. Welcome to our Nation Sports Show.
Well, it would help if I wasn't muted. Happy Tuesday, everybody. What's going on? My name is Ezra Vickery, and this is our Nation Sports Show. It is a Tuesday. You know what that means? You wanted the best in sports talk? Well, you've got the best. We are here. We are live with you guys once again. Thank you for joining us. And, of course, we got a big packed show for you tonight. Of course, the NBA Finals or the NBA Conference Championships are set. We'll find those matches out here tonight. Also, don't forget to also going on all the other sports in the world, MLB, NFL news, the regular season's out. We'll go over some of our team schedules and our favorite matches. Also, to just all the other news in the world of sports as well, including NFL, or like I said, NBA, NHL, MMA, whatever we decide to get into, college basketball, college football, pickleball, croquet, whatever, we'll cover it because that's what we're here for. But the ways you can interact with us, of course, are as follows. You can interact with us at Owen_Sports Show on the old Twitter machine, Facebook.com/Our Nation Sports Show, and Instagram.com/Our Nation Sports Show. Don't forget to follow us here on the YouTube as well, YouTube.com/Our Nation Sports Show, where we are live right now. Subscribe, share, all that good shit. We got. If you want to interact with us, please do. We'd love to hear from you guys. We'd love to hear from you guys' opinions. Of course, like I said, we got a very busy day today on this show. Going on, and we'd love for you guys to voice your opinions on whatever you desire. But enough. Don't forget to follow, of course, the Nation's Corner at The Nation's Corner on YouTube, Nation's Corner on Twitter, and The Nation's Corner on Instagram. Nation's Corner on Facebook as well. Search them up. Of course, their shows 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific time on Saturdays. The guys and gal covering everything in the world of pro wrestling, whether it's the King and Queen of the Ring coming up this Saturday, Double or Nothing this Sunday, Best of the Super Juniors going on right now in New Japan, GCW getting ready to head to Cage of Survival coming up, in Tournament of Survival coming up here next about 2 weeks. Whatever your heart desires, get in and enjoy some great pro wrestling talk on the Nation's Corner. And also follow at 2 Sweet Cosplay across all socials. At 2 Sweet Cosplay, we want to thank everybody who came out to our photo shoot / meetup at Anime Central. We thank you guys for joining us on that. Right now, we don't have a confirmed appearance, but more than likely you will see us at Fan Expo Chicago coming up in August. So keep an eye on our social media for more information as it becomes available. But enough of my spiel. We got a lot to get into. So Joey Thornton will be joining us in just a few minutes. He is running a little bit behind, but he will be joining us shortly. But for right now, we got my buddy here, the patriarch of this show, the heavy metal brother from North Carolina, a man whose opinions are more brutal and heavy than Kerry King's solo album. Ladies and gentlemen, Big Stevie Wyand, what's up?
Yeah, because no matter wherever I may roam, my opinions will still reign, maybe in blood. But anyways, what is going on, everybody? We are here, we are live, and yes, if you have not heard that new Kerry King record, it is very heavy. If you're into all things pure metal and fucking Slayer, then this is the kind of metal for you. And oh my goodness, I mean, just the musicianship is just crazy. I mean, Mark Asaga's vocals are just insanely good. And of course, Phil Demmel on the other guitar and Paul Bostaff on drums, and I believe Kyle Sanders on bass, and just an incredible array of musicians on this record that came out last week. And
Yeah.
just a lot of good albums continue to come out, and all that good stuff. And yeah, we've got a lot to cover. The NFL schedule came out, and obviously the NBA playoffs are continuing on, and the conference finals begin tonight in the Eastern Conference, and tomorrow the Western Conference gets underway, and the UFL is happening, and there is something that I want to talk about later on in the show, and that is the disaster that is the AFL. And with that being said, let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, when it comes to sports, we're going to give you that yeet down.
Yeet.
Shout out to main event Jay Uso.
So
yeah,
we got
yeah, I'm on my own, just me.
Yeet.
But we got a lot to get into. Let's go ahead and get started. Obviously, let's talk about the NBA playoffs, and what a finish to the semifinal round. And trust me when I say this, nobody expected the defending champion Denver Nuggets to be sitting at home right now, losing a very critical Game 7 against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Just absolute. It was a close matchup, back and forth, but in the end, the T-Wolves and Mike Conley and company were able to push the boundaries, push the game forward, and bring in that last-minute momentum, and that was it. All of a sudden now, the defending champs are back at home, sitting at home, while the T-Wolves move on to the Western Conference Finals to take on a very badass team. So, Steven, what did you think about the finish to that Game 7? And I mean, does this leave more questions for Denver now that they're out?
I mean, listen. I mean, if you are any of the other remaining teams, the Pacers, the Mavericks, the Celtics, you should be thanking your lucky stars, because the Denver Nuggets were the best team that was in the rest of this playoffs, and led by the three-time MVP Nikola Jokic. And ladies and gentlemen, better late than never, JT Joey Thornton. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Sorry I was a little bit late. Had to take care of some quick little household chores, but I'm here. I'm in breathing. I'm in person. I'm ready to talk some sports. Let's get it.
Now, we were just getting started on this, Joey, when it comes to the Western Conference semifinals, when it comes to the Nuggets and the Timberwolves. And so as far as my thoughts are concerned, when it comes to Game 7, let's piggyback to Game 6, because in games 3, 4, and 5, Denver outperformed Minnesota twice on their home floor on the road, and then on their home floor in Game 5, and then in Game 6, they went up 9-2. Minnesota took a timeout and went on an incredible 22-0 run in the first half. And Denver did not
get really any close, with the exception, I think, of like 11, 13 points. And that was as close as they got. They ended up losing by 45 points. So if you're Denver, you're thinking after the game, oh, we have game 7 on our home floor. Yeah, rightly so. The game's in your building. That's why you, and I talked to you, Joey, afterwards, saying this is why you work so hard to get home court advantage in the playoffs, because of a game 7 scenario like that. But just because you have home court advantage, that does not mean you are guaranteed the victory. This is not professional wrestling. This is not wrestling where the outcomes are predetermined. This is a real live game where the winner wins and advances and the loser goes home and watches the rest of the playoffs on their couch. Denver had a 20-point a 20-point lead at half, 58-38. Jamal Murray finally came back in this series and had a hell of a first half. Nikola Jokic at 13 points, 15 boards at the end of the first half. And Denver looked like they were on their way to another Western Conference Finals. And then in the third quarter, Minnesota went on a run. And when it got down towards about the 4.5, 5-minute mark of the third period, I'm like, well, you better hold on tight, everybody, because this is going to be a hell of a finish of this game. Because predominantly every game in this series, guys, has been a blowout. We are finally getting a close game by the midway point of the second half. At the start of the second half.
Well, it doesn't help. It doesn't help too, Steven, that Denver did get their asses handed to them in the last game by 45 points, getting their asses beat harder than Tyson Fury in the 11th round.
This is true. That also happened in the 11th hour. And just the way Denver came out swinging in the first half, and then Minnesota threw their counterpunch. And Minnesota came back, led by Karl Anthony Towns and the defense of Rudy Gobert and Anthony Edwards, who was struggling in this game. But what does a true shooter keep doing? He keeps on shooting, because eventually those shots are going to go down. And by the midway point of the third quarter, you could feel the tension in that building at Ball Arena. You could feel the pressure just every minute, every second, every missed shot by Michael Porter Jr., by Jokic, by Aaron Gordon. The legs were getting tired, fellas, and you could just feel the tension in that building.
Absolutely. And, you know, in all the appearances that I've had on the sports show in the over 2 years that I've been doing this, there is one statement that I have preached and preached and preached over and over and over again. And I'm going to say it right here once again tonight. Every single team, stats don't matter.
Nope.
Home field advantage does not matter.
Nope.
Every single game that is played, or every single event that is done, whether it's between 2 people, whether it's between 4 people, whether it's between teams, the one thing that I have preached is that with every single game that comes around, every team has a 50-50 chance of winning. That's it.
Yep.
Every team has a 50-50 chance of winning. Now, what happens during those games is a whole nother story for a whole nother day. Because otherwise we'd be here for about 3 or 4 hours. But like I was talking to Steven on the phone the other day, when we were talking about that monstrosity of a game between Minnesota and Denver, I went to bed that night thinking, okay, Denver's on top 3-2. They're playing here in Minnesota in game 6, so Minnesota might try to squeak one out. Or Denver might surprise us all, knock off the T-Wolves, and move on to the Western Conference Finals. I mean, both options were on the table here. I wake up the next morning and I see that Minnesota beat Denver by a score of 115-70. And I was like, huh? I had to rub my eyes and I had to pinch myself just to be sure I wasn't dreaming. And I wasn't. I mean, it is absolutely amazing how Minnesota just completely outplayed, outcoached, outclassed Denver, the defending NBA champions, for a 48-minute ball game, only giving up 70 points. It's unbelievable. And Mike Malone, before his team went out for Game 7, he literally gathered his team together, and obviously this isn't word for word, but I'm pretty sure he said something along the lines of, "Okay, fellas, this is it. This is what we've been practicing for. This is why we're here. We are the defending NBA champions for a reason. So we need to go out and play like we are the defending NBA champions." And that's what happened for the first half. Whenever the second half rolled around, it was a completely different storyline.
And also as well, Joey, to add to what you're saying, here's another key contributing factor to why Denver is sitting home. Michael Malone played Jokic for 47 minutes.
Yes,
Meanwhile, Jamal Murray got an extensive amount of rest during Game 7. He had pretty good fresh legs in that second half. But when you play your three-time MVP for the majority of the game, with the exception of 1 minute, those legs got tired. Those shots were falling short.
And here's another interesting stat for everybody watching out there. Who had the most points for Denver in that Game 7? I'll tell you who. It was Jamal Murray. It wasn't Jokic. It was Murray. He had 35 points in that Game 7. 35. But yet, you choose to sit him for a long period of time as compared to Jokic. I'm willing to bet you Murray probably would have gotten 40, almost 50, if he would have played the same amount of minutes, or just a little bit more. I'm sure he would have. But Kevin, whenever shout outs to Kevin Roy, by the way. When he was on the show last week, he was talking about these Western Conference semis between Minnesota and Denver. And while Game 7 was going on, I was following his post that he was sharing on Facebook in regards to what happened after the game, or the stats after the game. And he brought up an interesting stat. And this is what I was talking to Steven about yesterday on the phone for over a half hour. Whenever Rudy Gobert was first put on Nikola Jokic, Jokic was balling. It seems like he couldn't miss a shot. He was making play after play. He was getting rebounds after rebound. I mean, he was all over the place. But then, come second half, Minnesota coach Chris Finch decided, you know what? I'm going to put Gobert on Gordon. And I'm going to stick Karl Anthony Towns on Jokic and see what happens there.
The gamble paid off.
And yeah, I was about to say the move paid off. When Karl Anthony Towns was on Nikola Jokic in the second half of Game 7, Jokic couldn't do anything.
But the minute he puts Gobert back on him, he was still scoring on him.
Yeah. But yeah, as long as Karl Anthony Towns was on Jokic, Jokic couldn't do anything. And that was the deciding factor. And plus the fact that Anthony Edwards stepped up his game in the second half, along with all of the other role players that Minnesota had on the court. And this is why Minnesota is awaiting Dallas on Wednesday night, or I guess you could say tomorrow night. And this is why Denver is sitting at home. I mean, I get the fact that Game 7 is do or die come for most playoff series, and that could be baseball, basketball, hockey. It's usually, I mean, all three of those sports have best of 7 series, and if a series does go all the way to 7, it's pretty much the same mentality. Do or die. Bring your A game. Bring it to where it throws people off balance, to where it throws the team off guard. And yes, it is a pressurized situation. But some teams tend to thrive on that pressure, while others seem to come up just a little bit short.
And when you look at the scenario that happened on Sunday, when Chris put Cat on Jokic, that was a matchup that Jokic did not see at all.
No, he didn't.
And when he did that, that bottled up the Joker, and got to give Anthony Towns a lot of credit because that was his best game of the playoffs. And Jokic still put up good numbers, but when Cat got on him and was guarding him, he had no answers for his defense.
Nope.
And he tired him out, and Jamal Murray got boggled down, by Rudy Gobert. And that's what sometimes separates the teams that advance and the teams that, go home, is when you're in the middle of a game that you have just when the home team thinks that you have thrown to them every single thing that you have seen on film. When you throw them a sequence of defensive schemes that they haven't seen yet on the fly, sometimes you can't figure that out because it's too little too late because that hasn't been done in the series.
Absolutely. And bad games tend to happen to everybody. And because I'm willing to bet you, if you were to pull aside some of the greats that has touched a basketball in an NBA arena and played for a certain team, and I'm just going to throw just a couple names out there. Tim Duncan, Jason Kidd, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. If you were to ask all those players, games like Nikola Jokic had in the second half have happened to them.
Oh, absolutely. Because Kobe's talked about, during his during his career, the games that he had, where the greats, bottled them up, and their defense clamped down on him. And obviously LeBron and Tim Duncan, with Shaq and all that stuff.
Shaq and Reggie Miller.
And Michael, all the defenders that were thrown at him, like Gary Payton and obviously Reggie Miller and Stockton and Malone and all these great players and John Starks and
Allen Iverson, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen.
Yep. When you throw even the MVP off, you got a chance. And Minnesota, as young as they are, they were hungry because they have never tasted this victory. They've never tasted this type of success as a franchise in 20 years. When Kevin Garnett was the MVP 20 years ago and led this team to the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers. And the fact that Minnesota is going to an unfamiliar place that they have not been to in such a long time, I think that this is what makes these playoffs so unpredictable, because the days of a dynasty, I honestly think they're done.
Yeah, the days of the super teams are done.
The parity that is in the NBA in the last 5-6 years, it's unbelievable. We've had a different champion, and we will have another different champion again this year, because either one or four things will happen. Halliburton, Tatum, Edwards, or Doncic will be an NBA champion.
That's right.
For the very first time.
And now that Minnesota has punched their tickets to the Western Conference Finals, they pretty much have a legitimate chance to win that first ever coveted NBA championship since they moved to Minnesota and became the Timberwolves.
And if you're the Dallas Mavericks, we'll get to them as well. Luka Doncic has to be feeling very confident. And Kyrie Irving, who won a title with Cleveland in 2016 against Golden State in 7 games.
That's right.
If you are the Mavericks, these midseason trades have paid off for you to get you this far. Because I'm telling you, if Dallas would have had to face Denver, I thought it was going to be over in 5.
Yeah, I was about to say, if Dallas were to face Denver, I would see Denver sweeping or winning it in 5.
But the
Yeah,
fact that Minnesota is there, it's anybody's ball game. It's going 6 or 7.
Oh, absolutely. Because Dallas, yes, they could compete because they proved that whenever they took down OKC in 6 games. But like I said to you, Steven, whenever we were on the phone yesterday, I get why Dallas won the series because 1A and 1B. 1A, the Thunder were a very, very young team. 1B, they did not have the playoff experience.
Nope.
They do not have the playoff experience.
Nope. So all credit to Minnesota getting this far. And I'm sorry, but the people were pissed off that Anthony Edwards is waving to the crowd. What else do you want him to do?
Exactly. I mean, he was he was on the winning side on the road in a game 7. Now, if it was the first quarter, I can understand why people in the stands would hoot and holler and throw and ran and curse and do whatever they wanted to do. But it was just a few seconds left in the fourth quarter.
And speaking of ranting and cursing,
game was out of hand.
Game was already over. It was in the bag. It was done. And speaking of ranting and cursing, Michael Malone, he got a very nice piece and slice of humble pie. Because in that press conference he had on Sunday, ridiculing the owner for asking him a legitimate question, calling it a, quote, stupid-ass question. No, Michael, it's not a stupid-ass question. It's a pretty valiant question, I may say, because, and here's some stats courtesy of Lance Meadow from Twitter that he posted on Sunday. He said, here are the 3 key factors into this. Think about this. You had a 20-point lead on your home game 7. You hold your best player that you're facing, Anthony Edwards, 6 of 24 shooting from the field. And Minnesota shot under 40% from the field. And Denver still lost.
Yep.
Just because you have a home game on your floor in game 7, that does not mean you're going to win it. You have to play every down. You have to play every minute, every possession, every shot, every rebound has to be played like it's its last.
Exactly. And me personally, and Steven, you happened to bring this up when we were on the phone yesterday, and it was a very interesting point when you brought this up. I think Coach Malone needed this series loss. I think he needed it because it woke him up.
We don't know the makeup of Denver for next year. We don't know what Denver team we're going to be getting because it's not going to be easy to keep a lot of these pieces on this team because Gordon could be a free agent. KCP has the option to become a free agent this offseason and go somewhere else next year and test the free agency water. Obviously, You still got the Joker and you still got Murray. But you need a full team around you to win. And Michael Porter Jr. said that he took the loss very personal because he wasn't making his shots. Yeah, we understand that. It's a make or miss league. But you can't put the blame all on yourselves. You got to look at everybody around you who's on the team. Because if they would have not laid a massive egg on the road, just like the Knicks, and we'll get to that one as well, you would have been advancing to the conference finals.
Exactly.
You got to win not just on the road. You have to win at home. You have to win on the road.
You see, and we all know that whenever a team becomes or wins the NBA championship, yes, all teams are vulnerable, but whenever a team wins the NBA championship, they immediately start thinking that they're invulnerable, that nobody can touch them. But now that Denver is sitting at home watching these conference finals play out, they now realize that they're vulnerable. They have once again become vulnerable.
And now they know that when you are being the hunted team, everybody's gunning for your championship, they're looking to knock you out.
That's right.
And even if Denver would have faced Dallas in the conference finals, Dallas would have never given up too because Dallas took down OKC. They took down the Clippers. And Denver knew heading into these playoffs that everybody is gunning for their title.
Yep.
Definitely. Next up, let's talk about the Eastern Conference side of things. And man, do we got a lot? Man, talk about the Knicks laying an egg.
Yeah, I'm
They
about to
laid
say,
an egg.
speaking of teams that were in that treat Game 7 like a pressurized situation versus against a team that goes with the flow and does what they want to do, how about the Indiana Pacers shooting almost 80% from the field in the first half of Game 7?
At one point, they shot 80% from the field.
Yeah,
it was
at
crazy.
one time they were shooting 80%.
It was crazy.
And they wound up shooting just over 70% for the entire game. That's unheard of.
And they Game 7 record with 39 points in the first quarter.
Yeah, and 70 points in the first half.
They already scored 100 points by the end of the third quarter.
I think they're going to institute a rule next year that Reggie Miller can't be within 100 feet of the basket. I think when he showed up that day, he cursed that damn team.
Yeah, and Spike Lee sitting front row as he always does. All he could do was hold his head in his hands and say, "Oh my, did this really just happen?"
And Tyrese Halliburton is just glancing at him over there, just like, we got you.
Yes.
Every time you make a shot down the court, Tyrese just be over there going, we got you again. And
Yep.
Spike is thinking to himself, damn it. I mean, just crazy. I mean, and it's very fitting in a way that the injury bug strikes the Knicks at the worst possible times during this game. Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, I'm about to say, even if Jalen Brunson would have played the whole entire game, it probably wouldn't have meant not much.
And also what killed the Knicks in this game, the turnover bug.
Yeah.
And their transition defense. Because there were times where the Knicks would make a three or a layup or a dunk, and then the Pacers are down the other end, hitting a three, dunking in transition, or getting a wide open lane to the basket for a layup.
Yeah.
And just Rick Carlisle, he has the most experience left in these playoffs. He is no spring chicken. He's won a championship as a player and as a coach. And to take this team as far as he has, they have a fighting chance as well against the Celtics.
Yep, and he's not a playoff choke artist like Doc Rivers. Oops, did I just say that out loud?
Yep.
Oof.
And the Knicks showed up thinking, oh, we have Game 7 on our home floor. We got this. Again, just like with the Nuggets, just because you have Game 7 on your home floor does not mean you're guaranteed the victory. You got to go out there and you got to earn it. And Indiana played very loose, very relaxed, very calm in pressure situations, especially when the Knicks went on that crazy run in the third quarter, getting it down to as many as 6 with a chance to be back in the game. And the Garden was rocking and rolling in that third quarter. And the turnovers and the missed defensive assignments on McConnell and Halliburton and everybody involved and Turner, I mean, just they were stretching them on the court. They were getting wide open threes, wide open jump shots. I mean, it was crazy how it literally felt like somebody was playing a game of NBA 2K basketball and the sliders were near at 100. Because it seemed like every shot they were hitting was going in.
Or somebody was playing a game of NBA Jam.
He's on fire. They're on fire.
Or better yet, it's just like when Kevin plays the game of NBA 2K.
Yeah, he'll just hit a basket and then he'll sneak up behind the point guard and just take the ball and just dunk it again.
Yes.
Yeah, but it seems like the Pacers, they played a very smart game. They were able to take the Knicks down. Now we've got the two matchups coming up here. Of course, tonight we've got Indiana. We got the Indy Pacers taking on Boston Celtics. Game 1. Who do you guys got?
I got man. God, I so bad want to pull the trigger. You know what? Screw it. Indiana.
Indiana. Okay.
Yeah,
Joe.
I hate to say this, but I'm going Indiana as well.
I got Indiana winning by 1.
I got Indiana winning by 4 points, and I think that if Indiana does beat Boston tonight, it's going to let all these Boston players realize that just because they are the number 1 seed and won almost 70 games this season, that Indiana's not playing around.
And I said it last night. I've had time to think over it, and I'm still sticking to my guns. Indiana in 7. Because why the hell not?
Yep, I got to agree with that too, because Boston has been known to choke, especially come Eastern Conference Finals time. Because look what happened last year when when Boston went up against Miami.
Now, would I be surprised if Boston wins this series? No, because they're supposed to win this series. They're the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. The Pacers are the number 6 seed in the East. They'll get home court advantage in the NBA Finals if they win the series. If I'm the Celtics,
Indiana wasn't expecting to get past the first round.
Nope. And if you're the Celtics, tonight you have to win, and in game 2 you have to win, because you cannot afford to give Indiana any confidence. Because like with the Knicks, yeah, they lost the first 2 to the Knicks, but the Pacers won on their home floor. If you're the Celtics, you have to take not just game 1 and 2. If they do that, then I think Indiana takes game 3. And then I think Boston would have to take game 4 if they want a legitimate shot to win and advance to the NBA Finals. And if you're the Boston Celtics, this is the best golden opportunity that you have at winning your 18th title, because Giannis out, Donovan Mitchell out in the second round, the Knicks out with multiple injuries heading into the playoffs and during game 7. Lillard was out after game 3. Just a lot of injuries, down the board on the east side of the conference. And then Jimmy Butler going out with injuries in the first round. And then on the west, you got the big bad Nuggets sitting home on the couch. And if it would have been Denver playing Boston, like Kevin said last week, I would have gone with Denver at least in 6. But now that Denver is gone, there is no reason why the Celtics should not win the title, because they have 2 star players. They have a better point guard in Drew Holiday than Marcus Smart. He's a better jump shooter. He's a better defender. And oh, by the way, he has a title. He won it with Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
They have experience in Al Horford and Derek White on the defensive side of the basketball. They have the players that have been in the spot of the finals. Now it's up to you and Joe Mazzulla and company to get the job done. Because I'm telling you right here, right now on this show, as we speak, on May 21st, 2024, if the Boston Celtics do not reach the NBA Finals, and if they reach the finals and they do not win the title, they will never win the NBA championship with Tatum and Brown, because they will be known as the next set of players that were great in the regular season and choked when it mattered the most.
I can agree with that.
Yep, you pretty much hit the nail right on the head there, man. I'm going with Indiana as well on this one. I was gonna vote Boston. That way he gets a free clam chowder, you know.
But it just, like I said, it would not surprise me if they lose a series, but would it surprise me if they won? No, because they should win. They should.
Yeah.
But knowing how their resume is in the playoffs, it's not great.
Yeah. Real quick before we move on, we did do predictions for the West. So how about the West between with Minnesota and
Oh man, this is
I
tough.
mean, Dallas is competitive.
yes.
I mean, obviously, if they weren't competitive, they wouldn't have knocked out OKC. But like I said, OKC was a young team with hardly any playoff experience. This Minnesota team, they played their game on a different level. So, I do think Dallas is going to make this series a little competitive, but not by much. I'm going Minnesota in 6.
I'm going Minnesota in 7. And real quick, shout outs to Big T here in the chat. What's up, man?
What's up, Big T?
I do want to touch on the OKC and Dallas series after they're with the
Yeah, absolutely.
West Finals.
I'm going with Dallas in 6 as well.
Oh, you're going Dallas.
Oh wait, no, never mind. I'm going Minnesota in 6. Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I meant to say Minnesota on that. Right. Yeah, go ahead, Steven.
Now, as far as the Thunder and Dallas series, that series was very competitive for a second round matchup. And just back and forth, both teams went. And I really love that series because at times the series was close and game 6 was the best game of the series. No questions asked. And they were trading haymakers in that fourth quarter, back and forth. Shea Gillis Alexander and Kyrie and Luka and Derek Lively from the bench on Dallas was getting crazy rebounds and obviously both Williams players and Holmgren, for the Thunder, just great talent all the way around. And OKC proved why. As long as this team can stay, with their head straight on, and have a good head on their shoulders, Thunder will be back in this spot because they needed again a slice of humble pie, to get to the next step. Because sometimes you need to lose one to win one, and that also goes for the Celtics as well because they lost one to the Warriors. And now they're back into a familiar spot in the conference finals, 4 games away from the NBA finals. Now, as far as the Thunder and Mavericks series, I thought it was one of the better competitive series because that was a series you didn't know what was going to happen because it was just super competitive. And that game 6 was marred by controversy in the late stages in the fourth quarter when PJ Washington got fouled by Alexander on a 3. And we were a non-foul call away from a third game 7 on Monday. It would have been crazy.
Yeah.
But got to give credit to Dallas. Luka, a second triple-double in back-to-back games, 29 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. What a great performance by Doncic and Kyrie, showing up when it mattered the most. And look, we've given Kyrie a bunch of shit on this show, for his antics and stuff. But man, has he really stepped it up and found a home in Dallas. Because this Dallas team they have a lot of good role players on this team. And it will be interesting to see how they do in this series against the Timberwolves.
Yeah. He's like you said, Kyrie's more focused, he's more mature, he's just ready, rocking, ready to go. It seems like put all the vaccination stuff, the flat earth stuff behind him, and now he's a more focused, driven player.
Oh, real quick. Oh, my goodness. A shout out to my friend here in the chat, Zoe. What's going on? She is here in the chat. For those that don't know, she is a friend of mine from Texas, and she loves all things rock and roll, all things music, and also the good blues down there in Texas. And she's going for the Mavs in the series. And man, that I was texting her during the game on Saturday. I was asking, hey, at the game, she said no. I said, man, this building is rocking. I mean, just the energy in American Airlines Center on Saturday was just crazy. I mean, it was a great game. Both teams played very hard, and you hate to see a game, end like that in controversy, but it happens, and I'm not going to let that foul call on Alexander, ruin how good I thought that game was, because I was just sitting there on the edge of my seat going, man, who's going to win this game? Because it could have been anybody's game.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I do want to say this, though, is that they announced, the NBA announced their 2023-2024 Kia NBA All-Rookie First Team. And you got Shed Holmgren, Jamie Hawkins Jr., Brandon Miller, Brandon Podziemski, and of course Victor Wembanyama.
Not a surprise there.
Yeah, congratulations.
No surprises at all.
Yep, congratulations to all of them. Outside of that, really, outside of one couple small notes, I mean, there isn't really much going on, obviously, because we're at the end. At the end of the season. Let's see here. One thing I could say is that Clippers assistant coach Dan Craig is going to be joining. Billy Donovan's coaching staff in Chicago.
Nice.
So him and Wes Unseld Jr. will be the top assistants to Billy Donovan with the Bulls. So congratulations to him on his new role. Let's see. Anything else real quick before we
real quick. I don't think we announced this during the show last week, but top assistant Charles Lee, who has been on the Boston Celtics staff, has agreed to, I believe it is a 4-year deal to become the new head coach for the Charlotte Hornets.
Nice. Yeah, really, outside of that, there's not a lot going on. Obviously, we're towards the end of the season, so things are going to start getting a little bit quiet. But don't forget, tonight, people, it's 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern tonight, ESPN, ESPN2. It is the Pacers, and it is the Celtics. So check your local listings wherever you are in the United States and wherever else to watch this game. And then, of course, tomorrow, Game 1, Dallas and Minnesota at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Central on TNT and True TV. So check your local listings for that as well.
Absolutely. And even though the NBA may be trending a little bit downwards, there's still one sport that is really, really ramping up, and that is the NFL, because last Wednesday, the NFL schedule was released.
Christmas came early.
Yes, it did. Ha ha ha. Yes, it did.
I love my first half, 3/4 of the season.
Yeah.
I'll say that much, man.
And I'm telling you, there were some teams that really got the worst end of the spectrum when it comes to how their schedule was made.
Yeah.
And again, there were some good teams, and again, there were some teams that had some pretty interesting schedules.
Yep. Obviously, we know that the Ravens and the Chiefs will be kicking off on September 5th. And then on Friday, September the 6th, you have the Packers and the Eagles.
That's right, taking place in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Already going international. Unbelievable.
Yeah, just like whenever we were talking about the NFL schedule leaks last week, as long as they keep the Panthers and the Giants over there in Germany, it'll be fine.
Yeah, that was so funny last week. And Kevin's like, "Can we just keep the Panthers over there in Germany, please?"
Oh,
And also highlighted by in week 1, the Lions and the Rams on Sunday Night Football.
whew.
Ooh, that is going to be a hell of a game.
Yep. And then week 1, Monday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers coming off his torn Achilles is going to be facing the team that has a monstrosity of a defense called the San Francisco 49ers.
And please, for the love of God, please, ESPN, I'm begging you, do not play Led Zeppelin's Achilles' Last Stand during the commercial. Please, do not. Because if they do, Leonard Floyd is going to kill Mr. Rogers.
Yes. And if he doesn't do it, then Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, and Dre Greenlaw will try their best as well.
Yeah.
I always wanted a defender just like you.
Oh. But man, speaking of teams that had the worst outlook on their schedules, take a listen at this second half schedule for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Listen to this. Home against Baltimore. 3 days later, going to Cleveland to take on the Browns.
Ow.
Week 13, going to Cincinnati. Week 14, playing Cleveland once again. Week 15, going to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Week 16, going to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Week 17, on 4 days rest on Christmas, playing Kansas City. And then finishing up Week 18, home against Cincinnati. You mean to tell me that all 6 of their conference games, plus matchups with Philadelphia and Kansas City, are on Pittsburgh's second half schedule? Ouch.
Yeah, that's going to be brutal.
That's brutal.
Oh yeah.
And also another matchup that's highlighting for me on this schedule is early on during the year when the Bengals and the Chiefs lock up in week 2.
Oh, yes.
And I understand why the NFL and Roger Goodell, put some of these games front loading the season to start the year is because they don't want to be in a situation where both or one of the quarterbacks could be injured.
Yep.
Also, too, for me personally, I'm excited because the Bears will play on Thanksgiving as they take on the Detroit Lions in an NFC North showdown.
This is also another game to highlight on the schedule for Ezra. You got the Texans and the Bears on Sunday Night Football.
Oh, hell
week
yeah.
2.
Excited for
Okay,
that.
let's see.
We
I'm
get to
pulling up.
take on the Tony Khan Cokeheads, Jacksonville Jaguars in London.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and also in week 8, the top 2 draft picks from this past April's NFL draft will be going head to head. So, Ezra, hope Caleb Williams is ready.
I hope your draft pick is ready too.
I'm sorry, real quick, but can we please just cancel this game in week 3? The Panthers and the Raiders, please, thank you.
Oh boy!
This is what happens when even your team's best fan, and really the only fan, has to
Bullshit.
Hey, but I just.
Oh, here's a good game. Sunday Night Football in week 3. The Cowboys and the Ravens.
That's gonna be a hell of a game.
It's gonna be a hell of a game, but I pulled up a special link about the top 10 primetime games for this year, and I'm going to go backwards from 10 to 1. Number 10, Week 8, Sunday Night Football. Dallas going to the Bay Area to take on the 49ers.
Wow.
Even though San Francisco beat them 42-10 last year.
It took their soul.
All right, number 9, the game that we just talked about just a little bit ago. Friday, September 6th, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Green Bay, and Philadelphia.
Also in week 4, just highlighting this
Live on
game.
Peacock.
Also highlighting this game on the schedule for week 4, you got Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers with their first game against Patrick Mahomes and the 2-time defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs.
Yep. All right, number 8.
Damn, you got Buffalo and Baltimore on Sunday Night Football in week 4.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a good one. Let's see, number 8. Now, because of one guy, I can see why they got this matchup in the top 10. Number 8, Denver going to New Orleans to take on the Saints in Week 7, Thursday night, October 17th, because this will be Coach Sean Payton's return to the Bayou.
Nice.
All right. Number 7, Week 2, Sunday Night Football. Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears going to Houston to take on C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans.
That's going to be a hell of a matchup. I can't wait for that one.
All right. Number 6, Week 17, Monday Night Football. The rematch of the NFC Championship game from last year. Detroit going to the Bay Area to take on the Niners.
On my birthday, it's the Seahawks and the Niners.
Nice. And yet, number 5, season opener, the Ravens and the Chiefs. Number 4, Sunday Night Football, Rams-Lions, Week 1. Number 3, Week 11, Monday Night Football, Houston staying in Texas to take on the Cowboys. Oh, number 2, Monday Night Football, Jets and the Niners, Week 1. And, interesting.
Another matchup I just came across. You got the Cowboys and the Lions.
That's right.
On October 13th.
And also, this number 1 matchup, all I have to say is 3 little words. The Harbaugh Bowl.
Oh, my.
Baltimore and the Chargers. Week 12, Monday Night Football. John Harbaugh versus Jim Harbaugh.
As long as Rodgers stays healthy, you got the Bills and the Jets wrapping up on October 14th.
Yawn.
Speaking
But would you believe everybody is really picking the Jets to win the division this year? And I'm like,
God.
Speaking of wrapping up,
no.
Speaking of wrapping up, the Bears wrap up their season Week 18 against the Packers.
Oof.
At Lambeau. We got 2 matchups for Green Bay. Week 11 at home and in Week 18 away. And then we also got the 49ers. Got the 49ers away too. We go to the Bay Area to take on them.
Speaking of the Chiefs, Super Bowl 58 rematch. Chiefs and the Niners, October 20th.
Oh, yes. Let's see. I'm looking at my Commander schedule right now, and we got a rough patch here early on in the season. 3 games in a 4-week span is going to feature the Bengals on Monday Night Football, Week 3. Then, and of course, that game is in Cincinnati. Let's see. Week 5, we are at home taking on the Cleveland Browns. And Week 6, Week 6. This is going to be a nightmare. On the road, taking on Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh.
Yeah, that one's not going to be pretty.
Oh, here we go. The Cowboys and the Niners. That'll be on October 27th.
Another blowout. Let's see here.
Texas got pretty good selection.
While we're on the schedule of schedule making, now we're on the subject of schedule making, let's talk about this little rumor that came around. That supposedly the NFL's person behind event scheduling supposedly front-loaded a lot of home games so that way one Miss Taylor Swift.
Oh dear God,
Travis.
That's a bunch of bullshit.
Dear God.
Speaking of rants, Joey, we're getting into football, so I believe you got a little rant about this, and you happen to also have a rant about a certain video game that's not available for your system.
Well, actually, I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch because I have been doing some research and nothing has been confirmed yet. But based on everybody that has been talking about it, they are saying that the new College Football 25 game could come out on Xbox One. So I'm not ranting about it just yet.
Okay.
Okay. So that's what I was confused about because
ruining my fun, damn it.
Sorry.
So they have it on just two versions of Xbox One and not the original Xbox One.
They have it. They're saying that as of right now, it's supposed to be released on just the PS5 and Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S, which are the newer consoles.
Yeah, the Series X, the Series S, the Series 1, the Series your sister's ass. Shout out to Bully Ray. But yeah, that's the rumor going around. Obviously, that came from somebody within the NFL, but we don't know if that's true or not. We can't really say that was actually made without really some sort of confirmation because Schefter never reported it. Ian Rappaport never reported it. So, like we always do, we take things with a grain of salt on that.
And I'm sorry, but just because she's the biggest star in the music business, she can't help it. Like, it's not like they're showing her every single pissing down. I mean,
yeah, that's true, but I have been hearing rumors though that if the Chiefs beat the Steelers on Christmas Day this year, that Travis Kelce is going to propose to Taylor Swift on the 50-yard line.
Oh, by the way, this just confirmed. Speaking of this whole thing, Mike North has said that Taylor Swift did not influence the league's 2024 regular season.
Bull. They say that, but they don't really mean it.
Listen to this. The injured person in an alleged May 6th assault at a Dallas nightclub in which Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice is a suspect has asked police not to file charges. Not to file charges.
Damn.
Dang.
Rams running back Kyrie Williams will miss the team's offseason program due to a foot issue.
Ooh.
According to Sean McVay.
There we go. Check this matchup out. Week number 5. Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Stephon Diggs going up against his former team. Buffalo going to Houston to take on the Texans.
Oh.
We'll look at some vengeance on that one. How about this? Eagles wide receiver Devontae Parker has announced his retirement after 9 seasons.
Interesting.
He said that he wants to be home with his family more, and it says he's got 4 children he wants to spend time with, and so he's decided to call it a career. And he just signed with the Eagles a couple months ago.
Yeah. Wish them all. Wish them all the best in the world.
Absolutely. Listen to this statement. Panthers head coach Dave Canales says Bryce Young is doing fantastic in Carolina's new offense.
Well, that's because Carolina took about 75 to 80% of their cap space and revamped their offensive line. But it still ain't gonna amount to nothing.
No, it ain't. T. Higgins is still not signed a franchise
Sorry,
tender.
Carolina. Not.
T. Higgins, has not signed his franchise tender. Is not expected to by next week, so he won't be participating
Oh, here's a good game.
in any of their OTAs.
Thursday night football. Bengals, Ravens. That is in week number 10.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Also, too, Justin Jefferson hasn't signed a contract extension, and he was not spotted at the team's training facility for OTAs.
Let's see. Ooh, here we go.
Passing of Jim Otto was also happened yesterday at the age of 86 years old.
Oh, wow.
Number 0 for the Raiders.
Let's see. Sunday Night Football, Week 10. The Lions and the Texans in Houston. That's going to be good.
Also in week 10, you got the Eagles and the Cowboys.
Yawn. Let's see. Ooh, Kansas City and Buffalo, Week 11. Nice.
Listen to this. Fanatics has filed a lawsuit in the New York Supreme Court against Marvin Harrison Jr. for breach of contract.
Yep. I read all about that, and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, you got that going on. Chiefs offensive lineman Wanya Morris and Chukwuebuka Godric, the fuck, were arrested last Thursday in Johnson County, Arkansas, on misdemeanor possession of marijuana.
Here's your Thanksgiving games. The Bears and the Lions kicking it off at 12:30.
There you go.
Giants and the Cowboys.
Yawn.
And the nightcapper, the Dolphins and the Packers. Ooh.
Go Fins.
Oh, Lord.
Here's the Black Friday game. Please, for the love of God, end this game quickly. Raiders and the Chiefs. Thank God it's not the Jets, that we don't have to see a third-string quarterback throw a 99-yard pick six to the, or in this case, a 99-yard touchdown to the opposite team.
Week 13, Sunday Night Football, San Francisco and the Bills.
That'll be good.
In Buffalo. And of course, now that the NFL schedule has been released, NFL is starting to ramp up, which means that come week 1,
Eagles and the Ravens.
Once again, we will have our prediction battle, returning for a third year with Kevin and Steven being our previous winners. And this year, we may have some extra people joining in. Like our very own Jack and Mike. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yes, it will.
Yep. Oh, let's see.
Thursday Night Football, you got the Packers and the Lions in week 14. Nice.
All right. Also, too, in more news coming up, we got let's see here. Former Bears and Packers tight end Robert Tonyan is signed with the Vikings.
Man, he's gone to every NFC North team, it seems like.
Pretty much. Oh, here we go. The Bills and the Lions, week 15.
Chiefs and the Chargers. in week 14 on Sunday Night Football. Bengals and the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. Week 15.
Yeah, let's see. Houston and Kansas City in a special Saturday game in week 16.
You got the Rams and the Niners on Thursday Night Football the very next week in week 15. Man, there's some decent primetime games this year for Thursday.
And then, of course, our 2 Christmas Day games that will be streaming live on Netflix. At 1 o'clock, it is the Chiefs and the Steelers. And then at 4:30, it is Lamar Jackson and the Ravens against C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dear Christ. I hope this game is not a snooze fest like it was last year. Remember that games, boys? The Bears and the Vikings last year. That was a horrible played game on Monday Night Football.
Hey, as long as anything beats the Colts and the Broncos from a couple years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, who knows? Maybe the Panthers and the Giants will give us a new dud to talk about in week 10 in Germany.
Maybe.
Well, because the Giants are already 0-1 with those hideous uniforms.
Ooh, Texans and the Chiefs on December 21st. Also on Thursday Night Football, you got...
Oh, yeah, and breaking news. The Dallas Cowboys have already been eliminated from the playoffs.
That's not a prediction. That is a spoiler. Week 16, you got the Browns and the Bengals on Thursday Night Football. Scrolling. Man, it's so great that the schedule's out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Christmas has indeed come early.
Oh, here's a pretty good game. San Francisco and Miami in week 16. Bucks and the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Yep, there's the Christmas games. I'm really liking that Ravens and Texans game on paper.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously, as the schedule progresses, we don't know the times because those are really going to determine on who's going to be in the playoffs or fighting for the playoffs. But there is one thing as far as football is concerned that I do want to talk about, and that is the disaster that is the Arena Football League.
What?
I mean, when you look at what this organization has gone through trying to get back up and running again, Lee Hutton was the owner of the AFL, as people on the internet called it, 3.0 relaunch. And you guys know this as well as I do. If you are trying to get a new league off the ground, again, that hasn't been around for a couple of years or even a decade or whatever may have you, you have to have all your ducks in a row. You have to make sure that everything is taken care of, like the website, the teams have facilities and training staff and all this good stuff. Well, Hutton and his team failed to do so in a lot of ways. Like the website that they had, if you typed in the Arena Football League and went to the first website for the longest time, and I don't know if it is still to this day, but for the longest time, it was the old site that they were running that had like this already expired countdown and stuff like that, and a bunch of dead links. And then if you went back and looked at the next link, that was the correct link. However, they had only weeks 3 through 10 listed. And the first 2 weeks weren't even listed at the time. So you already didn't have a full schedule released. Most of the teams, or some of the teams, did not even have websites. And he had 16 teams, and 4 of the teams folded within the first couple weeks. And then 2 more just, I guess, didn't have, the means, to continue, the funds to keep going. So you're already losing teams. So there's only 10 teams in this league. And we don't even know if this season is going to continue. And oh, by the way, for those that don't know, YouTuber Urinating Tree did a full video on this, breaking this down. And I had no idea that the AFL even existed. That's because you don't really hear about this league anymore. Meanwhile, yes, the UFL is up and running. And yeah, they have had their attendance issues at times, but that's with any brand new league happening. That's going to happen. But they're pulling a hell of a lot better numbers than the AFL is. They're pulling way better numbers than the AFL. And the AFL's commissioner did not have team doctors, trainers, nothing for the Louisiana team. And then you move that team to another location at the last minute. And then the next week in week 2, the Philadelphia Soul were supposed to be playing, and the team was already out. They were getting ready to play. I think it was the can't think of the first name, but the second team's name was called Voodoo. They were getting ready to play the Voodoo team in week 2, and Philadelphia took the field, and they're being told, oh, by the way, your game has been canceled. So what happens? They fly in this team that was, quote unquote, the Philadelphia Soul, which we knew that was bullshit. It turns out that was the Dallas Falcons that were playing as the Philadelphia Soul. Just complete stupid. And also as well, take a look at the arena structures of some of these teams' so-called arenas. You mean to tell me that Louisiana had the nets, for field goals? Wasn't even proper set up correctly. And oh, by the way, Oregon's arena, the ceiling was so damn low, if the punter was to kick a punt, the punter's going to hit the damn ceiling. And the turf, if you want to call it a turf, it's not even playable. It doesn't even resemble something I would call safe. And we all know that the NFL, we all know that the game of football is a physical, violent sport. So you're already putting your players at risk on a field that if they hit the turf or they hit the ground, it's not going to feel good, obviously. But with it not being somewhat protected, they're going to get even more injured. And also as well, you're not paying the coaches, you're not paying the players, and all this sort of stuff. And the Philadelphia coach basically told the whole organization just to fuck off. And I don't blame them. Because if you're not paying your coaches and not paying your players, what the hell's the reason to go out there and busting your ass on the field?
Yeah.
And this whole thing was a dumpster fire, and yet you had Hutton's family saying, oh, it's a conspiracy against my family. A conspiracy to pay your players and coaches and have a proper training staff? This was so much to take in because Tree is spewing facts about this league. This league is horrible. And they were paying the NFL Network $1.3 million to air their games. If you're so worried about, where we're going to be playing our games, and then some of the networks that we're playing on don't even remember the names because that just goes to show you how little this league matters, because how awful the planning was in relaunching this organization. Because Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and everybody out there that launched this new football league, the United Football League, They know a thing or two about a thing or two as far as marketing, as far as scheduling, as far as how to run a proper football league, because Dwayne Johnson is no idiot. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has so many business ventures out there, not just in the world of wrestling, but also in tequila and all this different stuff.
Yeah.
And Jeff Fisher is now the interim commissioner of the AFL. This league relaunched not even a month ago on April 27th, and it has bombed. There was even one team, I believe, out of Iowa that played just one game, and their franchise folded. I mean, it is a travesty. And Tree said it best in his video, and I quote, "You don't have the money, don't run a fucking league," end quote. And Tree said it best, or he asked the question, did you know that the American football, that the Arena Football League existed again?
Nope.
Because if you didn't, I wouldn't blame you for not knowing that it existed again, because it's not good. And I sent this video to you guys because it's very informative. And it just goes to show you that if you don't have the funds to be doing anything, you shouldn't be doing it in the first place. Because if you're not paying your teams, your coaches, your staff, not having the proper people involved to get these teams and coaches to the next spot, then what the hell are you doing in the first place? I mean, it is crazy how this league has barely just gotten underway, and we don't even know if they are going to finish out their season. Now, I don't wish harm on nobody, because everybody deserves to work and everybody deserves to have a job. But for some weird reason, I hope that karma bites Hutton and his family in the ass, because the way he has mistreated everybody. Because if I'm the players for these remaining teams, what the hell is even the point of strapping on a helmet and getting on the field and busting your ass? You know, and I hope that Jeff Fisher can earn the confidence and the rest of these team owners and these players and these coaches, because also Jeff Fisher is the owner of the Nashville Cats. He is the president of football operations for that organization. And we all know that Jeff Fisher is a veteran in football when it comes to coaching the Houston Oilers / the Tennessee Titans from 94 to 2010, and then coaching the St. Louis / Los Angeles Rams, you know, from 2011 through 2016. So he knows a thing or two about football. And I hope that Fisher and his people can finish out this season, and I hope that they can rebound somehow. But if this league folds again after filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy in 2019, before even 2020, during that season when it was supposed to happen, it wouldn't surprise me if the AFL folds again. So if you haven't seen that video from Tree, it's a very informative video, and it's very well done.
I mean, I'm gonna make this short and sweet. The AFL was a bust whenever it first came around, and it's gonna be a bust this go around. So ain't nothing changed.
Nope.
Tree's never wrong, that's for sure.
Tree does a great job, and who would have thought that a quote-unquote shit poster on the internet at times will put on his analytical hat and speak more common sense about things in sports that the national media they don't talk about sometimes.
Yeah. Let's see. Other NFL news let's get into earlier was couple more things, and that is that
Jesus, real quick, score update. Boston is up 12-0.
God.
3 minutes into the first quarter.
Yep, that's an ass whooping.
Wow.
9 minutes and 16 seconds ago in the first, Boston's already scored the first 12 points.
Well, I guess Indiana left all their offense behind in New York.
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, pretty much.
Crazy.
Let's see. Cam Hayward does not attend at OTAs as well. And that is pretty much about it. But you know it's a boring season when Adam Schefter reports a little bit of everything.
Our good buddy Adam Schefter.
Oh, Jared Goff officially signed his contract extension.
Oh yeah, he got paid.
Yes, he did.
$73 million signing bonus.
Wow. So in just a span of 2 minutes, it went from 12-0 to 14-7.
Ha!
How about this? There was a little bit of an incident that happened involving a golf tournament and involving a golfer. That man being Scotty Scheffler.
Oh yes.
Scotty Scheffler was arrested for driving in an opposite lane, passing an officer in the middle of a traffic incident, a fatal traffic incident. He was placed in handcuffs that early that morning. It was like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. He was placed in handcuffs, detained, and booked into the local county jail.
Wow.
However, after he revealed that it was a misunderstanding, because he was trying to get to his golf tournament, he was released from jail and was able to make it for tee-off, since tee-off was delayed due to the traffic incident.
Wait. So Ezra, were you basically saying that he had the Genesis song "Misunderstanding" playing to basically say to the officers that there must have been some misunderstanding?
Dude.
Well, no, I was thinking more of there must be some way out of here, said the Joker to the thief, but
Come on, guys, really?
yeah, there must be some kind of way out of here.
Well, at least he wasn't waiting in the rain for hours.
Yep. He was honest. He went to Valhalla, and then he made his way there. Its golf tournament was delayed. He was able to make his tee time at 10:08.
Yep, and he wound up shooting a 666 in his round.
Yep.
Oh,
Even
how
though he
fitting.
wasn't able to win the entire tournament, that's still a pretty good storyline.
Oh, and yeah, by the way, after what you just said, I know nothing about golf.
Ha!
I literally know nothing. If you were to tell me about golfing and tell me this, all I know is sand traps. All I know is sand traps, hole-in-one, birdie, and eagle. That's about where everything lands. Oh, and 9-iron. Okay, that's about it. Oh, here's some news.
There's not really much after that, so
yeah. Oh, here's some good news. Here's some good news for the Boston Celtics, and that is that Kristaps Porzingis could return by Game 4.
Nice.
Let's see what else. How about this? Listen to this, and that is that.
I love the score 21-12.
haha.
What part?
It's probably the beginning of the instrumental as we speak in my head.
Yeah, pretty much. Here's Caitlin Clark has signed a multi-year endorsement deal with Wilson.
Nice.
And no, I'm not talking about the volleyball from Castaway. You're my only friend on this island.
Bruh. Bruh.
But let's talk about Caitlin Clark. Pretty rough go.
Pretty rough start for her.
Yeah, pretty rough start for her.
Pretty rough for her. Some good point scoring, bad losses, and including an ankle injury added on top of it.
Yeah, and 26 turnovers in her first 4 WNBA games. Hasn't won a single game yet, but of course that will definitely change, hopefully sooner rather than later.
I mean, including in the first game, having 10,000 seats sold out. I mean,
Yeah.
she is a star, but she's going to go through her ups and downs, and not surprised she is going through somewhat of a slump to start out the season, but eventually great players turn things around. But man, she's getting her money early on from the endorsements, indeed.
Oh, yeah.
And she's making a lot of money to the point where it's almost like her profits were written on the studio wall. Concert hall.
Jeez.
The spirit of the radio lives on.
Of course, I had to make that reference. Let's see here. Let's go to the world of let's talk a little hockey because we got all that going on too. And right now we're at games. Well, we had the Game 6 final back on the 7th. We had back on the 17th. The Panthers eliminated the Boston Bruins. 6
Oh, it happened again.
Yep. Florida has officially become Boston's kryptonite.
Yep, and the Dallas Stars eliminated the Colorado Avalanche.
So both Dallas teams are in the conference finals.
Yep.
Both Colorado teams have been eliminated in the same weekend.
And so there's there's no games tonight, but tomorrow night will be Game 7. Where is it? Wait, no, I'm wrong. No, it in Edmonton beat Vancouver in 7
3-2. Yep.
In 7 games. So tomorrow officially begins the Eastern Conference Finals with the Florida Panthers taking on the New York Rangers. It's the only game for tomorrow, and then on the 23rd is the Western Conference Finals between the Edmonton Oilers and the Dallas Stars.
Yep.
What were you going to say there, Mr. Joey Thornton?
I was going to say, I happened to come across a picture on Facebook. It was a picture of Dallas's major sports teams and how each Dallas team has made it to a conference finals or finals appearance or World Series or whatever in this entire century, except for one team, and that's the Dallas Cowboys, who haven't gone anywhere since 1995. But the Rangers, and now the Stars, and now the Mavericks have all made it to a conference finals in a 2-year span, while Dallas hasn't done anything in almost 30.
How funny. How fitting.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that's Dallas once again failing to fail. Hopefully the Dallas Stars will do better than the Cowboys will.
Stars could win their second Stanley Cup if they make it to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Absolutely.
All right, quick score update. 2:44 left in the first quarter. Boston on top, 29-20.
Yeah. Let's see here. So let's go to a little bit of baseball here, and some good news coming out of the baseball world. Ryan Sandberg, who has been undergoing cancer treatment the past few months, announced that his latest scan showed no signs of cancer.
Nice.
So good news to the Hall of Famer there. On looks to possibly be a little bit of a clean bill of health there. Oh, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this story. It's been all over the news, and that is the woman that got hit in the face by a 110-mile-per-hour hit.
Yes.
From Bichette's baseball to the face. She ended up with a giant goose egg on her forehead and later a black eye. But in the process, her tweet going viral, Topps made a trading card of her goose-egged head it made 110 cards to commemorate the 110 miles per hour that.
Oh
that
my God.
Wow.
So it gave all the cards to her to give or sell for at her own leisure.
Wow.
Wow.
So so that's pretty cool. Also right now going on too is big news that Kyle Hendricks of the Cubs has been pushed back to the bullpen to quote unquote get a chance to work through some stuff. So yeah. Also too Bobby Witt hit the third longest homer of the season, 468 feet.
Nice.
So, let's go through some scores real quick. Too as well, we got the Guardians up on the Mets 7-6 in the bottom of the eighth. You got the Reds taking on the Padres 2-0. Man, Twins are up on the Washington Nationals 10-0.
Jesus.
That's a whipping.
Yep, the Red Sox tied with the Rays 2 apiece. Phillies up on the Rangers 3-1. Giants up on the Pirates 5-2. Marlins beating the Brewers 5-4. White Sox up on the Blue Jays 3-0.
Nice.
Mariners up on the Yankees 2-0. Let's see here. St. Louis Cards up on the Orioles 1-0. Royals taking down the Tigers 8-0.
Whew.
Cubs and the Braves tied at 2 apiece in the top of the third.
ATL.
And then the Angels and the Astros tied up at 2 apiece in the bottom of the second. Later tonight, you got the Rockies taking on the A's, then the Diamondbacks taking on the Dodgers. Anything in the baseball world you got, Joey?
No, not really.
Let me check here. Let me go to MMA Junkie real quick. See if there's any big news. Oh, this is nuts. Listen to this. Jacob Brennan, husband coach of UFC's Haley Cowan, has been arrested on child sex crime allegations in Texas.
Oh man.
Oh, wow.
Been arrested after allegations of sexual misconduct with a minor.
Wow.
Indecency with a child with sexual contact, which is a second-degree felony in Texas. Possible sentences include 2 to 20 years in prison.
Oof.
Ooh.
Man.
Wow.
Let's see here. Real quick here, going through the quick news. Let's talk about this. Speaking of MMA, also too, it just falls into wrestling in a sense because they released the first look of The Rock as ex-UFC fighter Mark Kerr in the upcoming movie The Smashing Machine.
Interesting.
And if you look at the photo of him, it's almost unrecognizable. You could barely tell by the facial features that it's The Rock. Joey, check that out.
Holy cow. It doesn't look like The Rock.
Barely covered up all of his tattoos.
Barely. Wow.
Covered up all his tattoos. He's got a hairpiece on. Everything. You can't even you can barely tell it's The Rock. You can only tell by a little bit of the facial features.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of wrestling, it seems Andre the Giant came back from the dead to help the Awesome Truth retain their tag titles last night.
Oh, and Andre the Giant, I think is code for Braun Strowman. Let's see here. Also, too, real quick. Let's see. Coming up UFC wise, MMA, we got UFC Fight Night coming up this weekend, or last weekend we had that, May 18th. Edson Barbosa taking on Leron Murphy. And Leron Murphy was able to keep his undefeated streak alive, defeating Edson Barbosa by unanimous decision in the big fight there. But coming up next is UFC 302, which will take place on June 1st at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. The main fight is going to be Islam Makhachev taking on Dustin the Diamond Poirier for the UFC Lightweight Championship. Also, Sean Strickland taking on Paulo Costa. Kevin Holland taking on Michael Oleschuk. I believe his name is Jailton Almeida versus Alexander Romanov. Let's see, anybody else here on the card? Mickey Gall is going to be on the card as well, the man who defeated CM Punk in his first fight.
Yep.
So we're looking at that as well. That is the next big fight card for MMA. Real quick, of course, I want to give a shout out real quick before we end the show on a wrestling note. Got to give a shout out to a couple of great shows that happened. Real quick shout out to GCW. They had a mystery card this Sunday, kind of like almost like Mystery Vortex for PWG or New Year's Dash for New Japan. Great little card, fun matches. Main event was the tag team called Main Event, which is like a ringleader circus gimmick taking on Nick Gage and for whose opponent was Ruckus, I think. The indie legend Ruckus. And then also want to give a shout out to Zilla Fatu, who is an absolute beast. And if you guys don't know Zilla, he's the youngest son of Umaga. And he is an absolute freaking monster. He's only 2 years into the business. Amazing dude. He has a Superman Samoan spike that he hits. That is unreal. So shout out to him. Obviously, this weekend we got coming up, we got Double or Nothing, and we got King and Queen of the Ring. I don't want to get too much into it because I want to save it for the Nation's Corner. Of course, they're going to be doing their show this week. But obviously, we got the King and Queen of the Ring finals. We've got Cody versus Logan Paul, which Cody was on Busted Open yesterday.
Great interview. Great interview.
Absolutely, of course. Cody never disappoints. Also, too, Double or Nothing, Anarchy in Arena with the in-ring return of one Darby Allin as he teams up with the Team AEW to take on the Elite, and Swerve Strickland defending his Christian Cage, women's title on the line, TNT title on the line, Trent versus Orange Cassidy, barbed wire steel cage match between Edge and Adam Copeland and Malachi Black.
Yeah, that one's gonna be a hell of a match.
Yep. Also too at King and Queen of the Ring, it looks like we will see the return of Uncle Howdy and the debut of the Wyatt Six.
Yes.
WWE Shop actually today just released merchandise involving that bird symbol, the night bird symbol that's been on every single Uncle Howdy QR code video.
Nice.
So it looks like we're gonna be seeing that at King and Queen of the Ring. So can't wait for that. That's at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 Central, on of course Peacock. Also, too, WWE announced that it is returning to Japan for the first time in 5 years.
Holy hell!
That's right. With the summer tour, I believe it is in.
It's gonna be in
June,
Osaka.
July.
Yeah, it's gonna be in July. It's gonna be in Osaka and it's gonna be in Tokyo.
Nice.
Or specifically Ryugoku. It's going to be a Ryugoku Arena and Edion Arena. Edion Arena.
And also keep in mind a matchup to watch on this Saturday is going to be the match between Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan.
As well, yes, we cannot forget about that. Also, want to say congratulations to Lyra Valkyria on making it to the finals. On the women's side for Raw. Also on the men's side, congratulations to the Ring General Gunta on defeating
Gunther and Jay had a great match last night.
Yes,
I was really hoping Jay would have won.
yes, you gotta say it. Speaking of Uncle Hottie and all that, it was revealed that JoJo actually called Jay Uso and said it was awesome to see the Fireflies out for being a part of his entrance.
And
Now.
can we just say about those continuous angles, please? Like the fact that they're doing that now, that is just amazing.
Oh yeah.
Shooting from the back as the wrestler goes to the entrance. Like it's awesome.
A lot of great new stuff that they've tried since the departure of Kevin Dunn. No 54 camera angles in like 30 seconds.
And speaking of awesome, Gunther's promo last night was really good.
Yeah, in the middle of the empty arena up the stairs, that was really, really high praise on that promo. But let's not waste any more time, guys. Let's get to the final thoughts of the evening. And Joey, you know the drill.
Once again, another great job. Another great show with you guys. Ain't really got a whole lot to say, but just enjoy the sports, enjoy the playoff sports, and peace out. See you guys next week.
Yep.
Oh, and by the way, one last thing I want to point out. I was gonna mention this last week during the show, but I completely forgot about it. But back on May the 11th, we had a special local wrestling event in which I got my picture taken with the one and only Mr. Buff Bagwell, and all I gotta say is that was too sweet.
I met Buff 20 years ago, and he's an amazing guy.
Oh, he is.
Yeah,
he's
Buff
awesome.
Buff will always be the stuff, man. I love Buff Bagwell. Met him a couple times. Great guy. So awesome, Joey. Steven, you know the drill. Let's close it out, brother.
Yeah, man. Great show with you guys and all things NBA playoffs and the NFL schedule. Man, just what a time it is to be a sports fan. And the UFL playoffs is near and all of that good stuff. And the NBA conference finals is underway as of tonight. The Celtics and the Pacers are battling right now in the second quarter. We'll see how these first couple of games happen. We'll recap that next week, and we'll also recap the Western Conference Finals between the Timberwolves and the Mavericks, and that should be a very fun series. And again, shout out to Big T and to my friend Zoe out there in Dallas for joining us here today. And for those that join us on demand, thank you very much as well for joining us later on demand when this show goes into the archives. Yep. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter, or X as they call it these days, at @ON_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Our Nation Sports Show, and where we are live on YouTube.com/Our Nation Sports Show. Be sure to like, share, subscribe these videos. We love doing this every single week, and it's always fun coming on here and talking about sports. And be sure to check out the Nation's Corner this weekend as they talk about all things professional wrestling, and they get their thoughts on King and Queen of the Ring, and also preview AEW Double or Nothing out there in Vegas. And shout outs to Marks to New Mexico, because Marks is going to Double or Nothing this weekend. And he'll be out there for the pay-per-view, and highlighted by Christian Cage versus Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Title, and Team AEW versus the Elite in a Anarchy in the Arena match. That should be very interesting. And we'll see how that goes this weekend. And hope you guys have a very great and safe Memorial weekend. And enjoy the holiday with your family and your friends. And don't forget, while we have this holiday, because we honor and salute our men and women that have fought for our country. And for those that are serving, thank you very much. God bless. And those that have served, you are the reason why we have the things that we have in this world this very day. And like I said, don't forget to check out the Nation's Corner this weekend. Follow them on Twitter at Nation's Corner, Facebook at Nation's Corner, and where they all have on YouTube.com/The Nation's Corner, all things professional wrestling. With that being said, as I wrap this up, my friend.
Sure will, man. Thank you so much, everybody. Before we actually log off here real quick, I do want to send 2 congratulations. Congratulations to the new Mr. and Mrs. Parker. Ruby Soho and Angelo Parker got married this past weekend. Of course, this is a month or so after announcing that Ruby was legitimately pregnant with Angelo's child. They have been dating for quite a while before even their on-screen angle was involved, and now they are married and expecting their child. So congratulations to Angela Parker, and a special congratulations to our very own, the nation's corner's own sis, none other than Christina. She announced on her birthday that she is now engaged to be married. Congratulations to her. Congratulations to her future husband, now fiance. And we wish them all the best. We love you, sis, and can't wait. And hope you and your husband live many happy years together and have a great family. So we want to say congratulations and also happy belated birthday as well from everybody here at the Nation's Corner. So we thank you guys for joining us as always. Like our socials, which will be in the description, including our individual ones. Follow Nation's Corner, follow Too Sweet Cosplay, follow all of our ventures as we do things all around the United States, gatherings, wrestling events, concerts, whatever we do. We'll post about it. You guys will know about it. So until next Tuesday, which we will be live, and I will continue to be live because I will be on vacation. So for Kevin Rory, for Stevie Wyand, for Joey Thornton, for Randy Guyer, and for everybody out there in our sports world, I am Ezra Vickery. We will see you all next week for another great edition of our Nation Sports Show. Take care, everybody, and we will see you next time. Same time, same YouTube channel. Peace out, everybody.
Turn me up.